This old guy's got it figured out. He's got his Sackler tripod, he's got the camcorder, and he's got a little bag of accessories. He found his niche and bought appropriately.
All the ingredients are probably in your pantry.
And I did switch out the FX6 for the A7S III for this job. More importantly, I'm holding the next Morefield Meetup to the place that has been requested most likely the most, New York City. I hold these all around the US, most commonly in Orlando where I'm at, home base. But I've also gone to Atlanta. I did one in Dallas with Jared Phelps. I went to San Francisco with Tommy Beal. And now I'm going to New York City and hosting with John Waldman. There's going to be a lot of talent there. The tickets always go extremely fast. They will sell out. So get your ticket. I will see you there. And there actually is going to be a meetup the following week, and I'll announce where that is soon. First time using an A7S III in the underwater housing, and it did not work out. All right, I'm going to chalk this up to user error because I've never done this before, but you can see I am getting water inside. So I'm going to call it quits right there. Take a look in here and make sure nothing else is wet. That's a little too freaky for me to see. So I'm going to be switching it up. Normally, I film 4K 16:9 in long GOP, not all I, so that I can have smaller file sizes. But the 4K file itself, which is not 10-bit, is still very large. So I was having an issue where another operator was uploading their FX6 long GOP 4K files to Dropbox, and it was taking forever, and it was a nightmare. And that's not usually how it goes, but I was like, I wish I could do smaller file sizes. And he says, you probably don't need to shoot 4K for this. And I'm like, no, they're doing the center crop for Instagram. Like, I need to give them the top quality. And he goes, well, it worked fine for the TV reality show that was, funded by a large network that I was on. And I was like, yeah, what am I thinking? Sometimes the improvements have nothing to do with gear. So in this case, this is my normal viewing angle. But after hours of sitting here, the overhead lights on that truss really beam into my eyes, and sometimes I can get a little bit of a headache. So I'm looking at like, how could I cut this glare? Honestly, I think I'm just going to wear a hat next time because it'll kind of create this little cocoon around the LCD screen, maybe block even a little bit of the reflections, and it'll just serve not getting so much light in my eye. So I'm gonna play the beginning of this clip again because I recognize this ring card girl. I was like, I know I've seen you before. And I went up to her and we couldn't figure it out until I started scrolling through my Instagram, and I went back to the last music video that I've done. And I haven't done a music video in forever because they're really chaotic and not my first choice. But I remembered seeing her face a million times because I edited this video. So I directed, DP'd, edited, very, very nimble crew. This was on the C70. This is exactly where she's from, and it's just so cool to see where she has been in the past and then where I am and how we're reconnecting in a completely different arena later. But I have no desire to continue doing music videos. They are just, it's a big ask. It's a lot of creative effort. And when I compare it to the corporate work that I have, it's just nowhere close to the same amount of compensation. Or I can be a partner. I should have put a not safe for work label on that. I know a couple of you probably had to hide your phone from the wife and kids or work, so my bad, that's on me. But this Sackler is awesome. Very happy I went through with it because I can just unlock, tilt the camera off, snap it back in, lock, latch. It has made a huge improvement in the workflow. Very happy with the purchase. Why am I at Saks Fifth Avenue looking for the cologne that Johnny Depp promotes in his pirate commercials? Well, I want it, but it's too expensive. It's about $140. However, if I use my Amex Platinum, I can use the $50 credit that I get over every 6 months, stack them up, and pay for this for free. I wouldn't pay $150 for a cologne, but I will gladly spend Amex's money.
And then, it has zoom, and what I love is this thing rotates. I don't know if you've seen this.
Checking out the new toys from Vipul at Bindra Productions. First time putting my hands on this. And I got to see Metallica. switching out of the FX6 for the A7S3 for my retainer, and this is the setup. So with the FX6, I was using the VCT plate, and that's how I was getting my dual rods going in for this teleprompter. But instead, I am now using this kind of like riser plate thing where I can adjust the height of the teleprompter to fit the lens. And I still have the iPad holder. My little trick for anyone getting this small rig teleprompter, which is extremely useful, and I have a lot of people ask me which one is it. I have it linked. It's the last item in my description. But it's to have the rails extend further. Most people stop the rails here. The thing is this isn't really strong enough to hold an iPad. It starts to bend. So if you have the iPad resting on the rails, then you can still use the clamp to make sure it doesn't fall forward. That's the new setup. FX6 is I still bring it for backup, or sometimes we need two cam options, but mainly I need the MP4 codec that's in here since we immediately upload to the client. Found this old skate clip of me on my phone. I would always like to skate the beach spots because no one else would. Now, I normally do consultation calls with me and another crew member. However, I do at times have video production teams call in, and this was one of those times, but at a larger scale. It was for a very big Singaporean firm who was redoing their entire video production gear list, and we got into the weeds. Every piece of gear from start to finish. I could totally see myself doing this as an international endeavor, maybe going to these locations. It was very fun. I thought for sure I would regret spending $200 something on a backpack, but this thing has really performed. Mainly the cost is just worth the padding. There's like some type of gel insert here, here, here. This middle channel. Travel Pro. With that insignia, you'll see it on a bunch of the airline personnel luggage. Here's the deal. You invite all of your friends who are not in the filmmaking industry, and you have a conversation and normalize talking about money. In this case, this is my surf group. We go to Puerto Rico, Costa Rica, and we wanted to talk about finances. Where are we at with them? Where are we starting? Where are we lacking? What can we do before our next dinner? And kind of demystify this thing that we're all chasing to try to improve our life. I highly recommend doing this with your friends, whether they're employees or entrepreneurs. I really need to buy a new iPhone. This one is a 13 Pro, and it actually has a broken 3x camera lens. The 0.5 and the 1x are fine. I believe this would be a business expense. Not so much for the phone line aspect of it, but for the camera recording. I mean, this is a camera that I use all the time. I need to ask my CPA about that. I'm watching one of my favorite phrases unfold. Action brings action. Vipul wanted to see more conversations in the local community, so what did he do? He made his own podcast, and now he's filming the last episode of season 2. That type of momentum is infectious. It brought in Dalton Smith, it brought in Adam Kalinowski, and we had a very cool conversation that will be out on his channel soon. Okay, here is my attempt on how me buying fancier meals is going to save my client money on their invoice. Here it goes. Thank you. I'm explaining to Giselle how we are American Express Platinum Maxing. Let's just go through the benefits we're receiving. We are here on a low season. There's not a lot of occupancy, so I can book on the American Express travel portal and get 5x points. Doing that over and over again gives me a ton of points that eventually we're going to use for a honeymoon somewhere. We are allowed early check-in, late check-out automatically. Our room got upgraded to a pool view, top floor. Every day we get $30 of breakfast, but since there's 2 people in our room, me and her, we get $60 of breakfast. So this morning we got, I got us a coffee, a juice. I got a Red Bull just because I wanted to bring it up to $60, and a wrap, and that included the 20% gratuity, all free. And then I was talking about what we're gonna eat tomorrow. we have $100 experience credit. So that can go towards the spa, it can go towards going golfing, or we can use it what we normally do, which is for dinner. So we go to the lobby bar, we have a nice dinner, $100 worth, and it's completely free. So those meals are not going on our invoice. We're getting better meals than if we had to put them on our invoice, because we would not be spending this much. And we're saving the client money while us getting a better experience, while I'm getting 5x more points. Like, it all works out really, really well. And I actually am considering going to the Chase Business Reserve and switching out of the Amex, and this hotel is in their collection as well. I think you get 10x points, but the effectiveness of their points are a little different. So if you travel a lot, the Amex Platinum is worth it. If you don't travel a lot, it's a waste of money.
Let's got that shirt I was telling you about.
How'd you pay?
Debit.
Are you an idiot? Why would you do that? I haven't had to pay for flights in 10 years.
What does flights have to do with anything, bro?
And your lack of financial literacy is really losing your money. I'm just saying you'd be dumb not to go for that sign-up bonus. The points.
What, do you work for Amex?
Well, might as well. They pay me in points. I'm gonna send you a link, okay? You're gonna use that link, you're gonna get 5K points. I'm gonna get 5K points. Win-win. And the points, and not to mention the points. If you think about the points,